The first thing I saw was the dent in the metal door of Unit 347, a fist-shaped dent, fresh. And for a second, I wondered if it belonged to the man I used to be, the one who let anger do the talking, not the one who planned. I stood there, broke, humiliated, and holding the phone that had dragged me back here. "Sir, you need to come immediately," the auction buyer had said. "Your father wasn't who you thought he was." I didn't argue. I didn't hesitate. I just drove. Because after everything my ex-wife did, hope was the only thing I hadn't sold off. 3 months earlier, I was still inside that lakefront mansion. The one with the glass staircase she loved so much. The one she walked down the morning she told me, "You'll die poor and alone. I'll make sure of it." She said it with a smile, a slow, relaxed smile. The smile of someone who knows she's already won. And technically, she had. We built everything together. The estate, the businesses, the investments. At least, that's what I believed. I met her when I was still climbing. She met me when she was already calculating. I mistook ambition for love. She mistook my trust for weakness. And for years, she played the perfect wife, perfect mother, perfect partner. I didn't see the rot until it was already in the foundation. It started with one missing document, one signature on a paper I never signed. Then another, and another. A trust I didn't authorize. An account I didn't open. A transfer I didn't approve. The day it all clicked was the day the banker looked at me with pity. Not sympathy. Pity. "Sir, your wife has already granted power of attorney over these assets." My wife? I remember asking. My wife did what? She'd been moving pieces for 2 years. Slow, silent, surgical. The estate, the cabin, the vacation properties, the photos of our kids she claimed for emotional custody. All gone in one brutal divorce she engineered like a corporate takeover. And while I was standing there bleeding financially, she twisted the knife. "It's nothing personal. You were just too easy." That was the moment the pain burned out and something colder took its place. Anger is loud. Revenge isn't. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I didn't argue. I just disappeared into the background, watching, gathering, learning. I dug into every account, every transaction, every email she thought she deleted. I hired a forensic accountant instead of a lawyer, a private investigator instead of a therapist, cybersecurity experts instead of friends. I discovered she'd been siphoning my assets not for herself, but for someone else. Her business partner, a man who magically started driving my car, wearing my watches, and living in my house 2 weeks after the divorce finalized. Cute. But what she didn't know was that my father had been doing his own quiet planning long before either of us. 3 days before the storage auction, I couldn't even afford to pay the remaining $612 in unit rent. Let that sink in. My father's old storage locker, the last footprint he left behind, was about to be sold because of what she did. I was so broke I had to choose between fighting it or eating. But the winner called me, and that call would end her entire empire. Because inside Unit 347, behind the dented door and the smell of old wood and dust, was my father's real life. Not the quiet mechanic I thought he was, but a silent collector, a strategist, and apparently a man who didn't trust banks. The first thing I saw was a metal chest, heavy, locked. My father's initials carved into the side. Inside were documents, original deeds, contracts, ownership papers to land, businesses, mineral rights, gold certificates. 47 years of assets he'd kept off the grid, worth far more than the estate my ex-wife stole. And then I saw the envelope, my name in his handwriting. Inside, one line. "Son, I know who she is. Keep what's yours. And if she ever takes from you, take back everything." And I did. Every asset my father hid was still legally mine. I transferred them carefully, quietly, strategically. Then I turned to her. Her new partner had been embezzling from her for months. I had proof. I sent it anonymously to the board members of her company, 5 minutes before their annual audit. She was removed, investigated, frozen out. Meanwhile, I bought back the mansion she stole using the mineral rights she didn't know existed. Bought it at a foreclosure auction, paid in full, cash. She showed up at the property screaming, "This is mine!" "No, it was never yours," I told her. "You don't have this kind of money." I smiled. "Well, you took everything from me." So I looked deeper into what my father left behind. Her face drained. She finally understood. She hadn't beaten me, she'd awakened me. I didn't press charges. I didn't humiliate her. Life was already doing that. I simply walked into my reclaimed home, closed the door, and let her scream on the driveway she no longer owned. Revenge doesn't always need fire. Sometimes silence cuts deeper. She once told me I'd die poor and alone. Turns out she was half right. I didn't die, and I sure as hell didn't stay poor. I just stopped loving the wrong person and started becoming the man my father knew I could be.